Well, I'm not sure, Zach, what you mean by the difference between dividends. Dividends are dividends. They're declared by the board. And so the board of a mutual fund or the board of a company's stock corporation would declare a dividend. And so dividends of a mutual fund, the only one that's a little tricky on the mutual fund is that some mutual funds have what are called dividend reinvestment programs, DRIPs. And you can reinvest. The IRS says, as far as we're concerned, Zach, you could have got the money and that's the same as getting it. So if you reinvest the dividends of a mutual fund in a DRIP program, assuming it's not in your retirement plan, 401k or IRA, it's going to be taxable. One of the things that's different about dividends and mutual funds, if it's a muni bond mutual fund, remember the tax-free interest is being passed through as a dividend. So that would be the one time the dividend would not be taxable if it's a dividend from a muni bond mutual fund, right? So those would be the differences off the top of my head I'd be aware of. Common stock, remember, you don't have a right to a dividend. You only have a right to a dividend if declared by the board. And the other testable distinction, Zach, is that, remember, we talked about this earlier with Evan, the Uniform Practice Code, which standardizes trading within the securities industry. And in the secondary market trading, the X date is the same as the record. X is Latin for without. So test question number one, what is the X date? It's the first date on which a stock no longer trades with a dividend attached, or first date on which a mutual fund no longer trades with a dividend attached. In secondary trading, the X date is the same as the record date, but it emanates from record. The board has nothing to do with the X on the secondary market. In open-end mutual funds Act, there is no secondary market. You're doing business directly with the mutual fund. And so there, the X date can be anytime. It's typically the day after the record date, the day after. And in a mutual fund, open-end mutual fund, all those dates, declared, record, X, payable, is all set by the board of directors. One more thing that's testable for everybody is unethical business practices. One unethical business practice is called, test question, selling dividends. So what is selling dividends? See, selling dividends is using the artifice, the artificial sense of urgency that does not exist to get somebody to buy the stock or the mutual fund before the X. I say, hey, Zach, if you buy it today, you get the dividend. But if you wait till tomorrow, no dividend for you. You've heard of dividend capture programs, haven't you? He said, well, Dean, isn't it going down by the amount of the dividend? Doesn't that just create for me an unnecessary tax situation? Could I talk to your supervisor? I said, you're no fun. So selling dividends is a big, big no-no.